Hello, everybody. Listening to the Fair Weather Podcast, boy 2K Suave. I'm joined with A Rod, and we have a special guest on the show today. It's been a while since he's been on. Mr. Mike Pless is back, and what better time to have him back than draft season? What's going on, Mike?
What's up, guys? It's good to be back on. I'm very excited to be with you guys and talk some sports, and yeah, should be a lot of fun. Feeling great.
And tell everybody what jersey you're wearing.
Oh yeah, this is a Shane Falco jersey. So
if you guys don't know who Shane Falco is, you're too young. You're too young. The Replacements, guys. It's the movie. Anyway, A-Rod, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Watching Judge have a game tonight. So got the Yankee game on the background. As you can see, I'm a little concerned Knicks fan again. I got Spike in the back. They got Molly Wop yesterday, but they got to come back to Mecca and let's make things happen in the Garden. Hopefully not a career night for Donovan Mitchell is what I'm hoping.
So. And he's hungry for it too.
I know. Josh Hart said, "Shut the fuck up." So I'm fine with that.
All right. So, like we kick it off every week now, we're going to start with you, Pless. Mm-hmm. What is the wackiest, craziest, or funniest sports thing you've seen in the last 7 days?
Well, I mean, we'll start with last night. I mean, you look at the Tampa Bay Lightning and everyone, was thinking, well, they might be a first round exit.
That's what I heard too.
I'm like, what are you guys talking about? I mean, this team changes once they go into postseason.
Your mic is doing something. Well, we're talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning. So everybody was telling me it's one and done. I'm like, nah, bro. This is a playoff team. What we do is we wait this whole time to get to this situation, and then we dominate when we need to dominate. So, shout out to the Lightning. Go Bolts.
Yeah, we own the Toronto Maple Leafs too, man. They're our bitch, and also. One of mine and Pless's friends, thank you for not saying shit in the chat because you're a bad omen. You know who you are. Your name will not be mentioned on here, but if you ever say something in the chat when the Lightning are playing, they lose because of you. So,
all right, Pless, you back?
Can you guys hear me still?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, continue your little rant.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, people. Talking about this team thinking, Toronto was going to wipe the floor with them or, win a first round, but they come out last night and win 7-3. So that was just a little, crazy to me. Another thing, I mean, the Tampa Bay Rays 16-3, would have not have thought that. Again, people talk about the schedule. And yeah, sure. They're taking advantage of, lesser opponents. But wouldn't have thought about just their offense and the way they've been scoring runs, pitching, etc. So yeah, those two teams keeping it local.
Yeah,
that was wild.
It's one thing to talk about schedule, but when you're beating the crap out of everybody, that's when you know you're not winning 1-0.
Playing high school could beat them, man.
They're beating the shit out of everybody right now. They're
playing high school teams. What I say, Plus, when they play Toronto, that's the test of time. And what happened?
We had to go on the road. It was tough.
Yeah, no, they lost. I mean, they finally faced some good pitching, and it showed the offense took a step back. So
your boy came alive too, Kevin Kiermaier.
Yeah, he's on my fantasy team.
Hold on. Pless has the greatest. I think I've said it on the podcast before, but I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Pless, tell him your famous quote about Kevin Kiermaier because I absolutely love it.
Oh, I can't even remember now. I mean, Kevin.
Come on. All right, then I'll say it for you, and it'll jumpstart real quick.
Yeah.
Major league looks with minor league talent, man.
Oh yeah.
That's the best one I've ever heard.
That is right. Yeah, that is Kevin Kiermaier in a nutshell. Yeah,
leave that guy. Leave that man alone, man. Leave that man alone.
Hey, Pless has a personal vendetta against that man. He's been patrolling center fielder too long, and I've seen this man get an aneurysm and not even see it personally, just see it fictionally in the chat from just imagining what's going on in his head right there. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Kiermaier was always an issue for me, and maybe he was the problem. I mean, you look at the team now, 16-3 because he's gone. So
damn, that sounded very, very personal. I just want to say, Kevin Kiermaier on my fantasy team. This is why I'm keeping on track of his play, which I've been very impressed with. What's he batting? I think he's still batting like 390 or something like that. Let me pull this up really
Unheard
quickly.
of.
Kevin Kiermaier is batting. Now he's down to 327, so he's starting to get around back into. He's starting to round back to form because he was like 450 for the last couple of weeks.
He'll do that for you, and then eventually, and probably the next month, he's gonna some type of injury will happen, or he'll just start collapsing and trying to be a home run hitter when he's not. And
I gotta trade him. I gotta trade him while his value is still high.
yeah, that would be the smart move. Yeah, that would be smart.
Right, I'm gonna see who's not listening. I'm gonna make sure we work something out. A-Rod, craziest, wackiest, funniest thing you've seen in sports in the last 7 days?
On the last 7 days. So NBA basketball. Draymond Green is going to do what Draymond Green is going to do, and it looks like there's a new rivalry now with Golden State and Sacramento. Man, you see E40 getting kicked out of games. You see Draymond Green playing real aggressive as he always does. He gets under your skin, but you'd be crazy to tell me Sabonis didn't have that coming against Draymond Green. I mean, what Draymond did was wrong, but he also held on to his leg.
Grab a man's ankle, bro. Come on.
Yeah, like what Draymond did was wrong. I'm not saying when you're down on the floor, stomp on another man's chest, but like everyone's like coming to his aid. Like he grabbed his leg, and I'm sure it was frustration there. I'm sure it was like not knowing where to put your foot at the same time. But it looked clear as day that he stomped on his chest or on his body, whatever. But I mean, you have that, and then you have the hard foul with Jared Allen on Julius Randle with like seconds left at the end of the game, and Draymond.
Why was he in the game, A-Rod?
Oh, exactly. Once again, too. I mean, we're on the same page on that, man. Like Tibbs loves to run your knees into the ground, and when you're down by that much, there's no reason for Julius Randle to be in the game. But at the same time, why is that foul not looked at? Why is that not a flagrant foul? That's just a normal foul. So that's the wackiest one for me that I got. Just the crazy play, just the crazy playoff play in basketball right now, how physical it is. And
I was going to say, hasn't this been a lot more physical than we've been accustomed to? Like it's been a while since we've seen it like this before.
I feel like it's the 90s again watching right now. Yeah. It feels like the 90s. Like players are getting injured. Everybody's really scrappy. We're going to get into all the injuries in basketball in a little bit, but like it's insane to know how many, like John Morant's not playing tonight. Giannis isn't playing tonight. Tyler Hero's a broken hand. Like it's crazy to see all these guys go because they're pivotal pivotal pieces to their team. So yeah. It's crazy to see all that. So that's what I got for you.
All right, we'll get to the NBA after a little bit of NFL talk. Now, my crazy, wacky, funny thing wasn't in pro sports. It was today actually. I finally decided to play basketball with other human beings today, rather than just shooting by myself. And when I came to the court today, I'm going to give you my stat line. I thought it was going to be phenomenal. When you're alone at the park, everything's just falling. It's fantastic.
He's a free agent, guys. Pick him up in your fantasy leagues.
I think it went 2 or 3. I went like 3 for like 30 from 3. But I kept jacking them.
Drop candidate.
I kept jacking them. And it went from air balls to in and out. So the shot's coming back. But yeah, my stat line was atrocious. My conditioning is really bad. I feel like I'm doing like a press conference, post-game press conference right now. Yeah, the conditioning is really bad, and the shot was a little bit off, but I'm getting my rhythm back. Starting to get to know the guys a little bit better. So next week, the stat line will be better, and I can just show you that. That's a promise.
I think Cleveland's cool.
Fly. All right, but yeah, that's my funny stat for the week because it was pretty bad. Now, Mike. Yes. First and foremost, we miss you because we love talking football with you, and we love to talk about the Bucs with you. And
right,
there's been the last time you were on this show, You guys had just won the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, or it was around the dominance time. I think maybe like during that summer after. So it's been a while. A lot has changed since your last Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
Last year, well, 2 years ago, you won the Super Bowl. Last year, you ran into, who did you guys lose to in the playoffs last year?
Cowboys.
No, not this one.
Oh,
Last year.
Rams.
No, yeah, Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Rams went on to win the Super Bowl, so
yeah,
obviously there was something there. And remember the last play of the game. I think we talked about this. So you guys went from that, and now we're here, post Tom Brady era. So I want to give you I want you to give us a synopsis of how you felt like the season went for you guys. I read all your tweets, and some of them make me laugh. Some of them I'm like, I don't know, but give me the breakdown of the Bucs 2022 football team.
Yeah, it was disappointing. It was, definitely a team that, we thought were going to be fine. Like defensively, they took a step forward, and I thought they were really good. They were very consistent on defense for the most part. They did lack some pass rush ability. They couldn't win with four consistently, but the offense just fell apart. It was a mess from the coaching staff all the way down to who was on the field. And obviously, you had change of personnel. You lose Ali Marpet, Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, Alex Kappa. So you lose a lot of your pieces on offensive line.
Yeah.
Ryan Jensen gets hurt. So that was a big loss. So really the whole dynamic of your offense was different. You had new pieces. Leonard Fournette was out of shape coming into the season, and he didn't produce like he was supposed to. They give him that new deal. But really, it started with Byron Leftwich and just the mess that he created. There was no organization. And then also Tom Brady dealing with what he was dealing with. So the focus, the scheme, all that stuff just wasn't there. So it led to a lot of inconsistencies. And then in the playoffs, I mean, they just got beat and by a better team in Dallas.
So going into that playoff game, what did you have like any hope? Did you feel like they shouldn't? Did you think the turnout of the game went according to how you thought it would go?
Yeah, it did. I mean, I was hoping that they would try something different and try something new on offense, but that didn't happen. They just tried to, continue with the same, plan. Here we go. This is what we're going to do. Dallas was prepared for it. They knew what was coming and took advantage. And then, the defense, they held strong for like the first half, and then things started to fall apart because they got tired. They were on the field, turnovers started happening, and really that was the microcosm of the season. When you look at it, top to bottom, that's what would happen. Like we were in games that we probably should have won if we would have scored some points, but they just couldn't do it. They kept beating themselves over and over again, and end up at 8-9. It finished really 8-10 on the season, and Todd Bowles' first year. And I like Todd Bowles. I think he's a good coach. I'm excited to see what, new with all the new pieces that they've added this offseason, especially with Dave Canales, the new offense coordinator. That's like the big X factor. And then obviously the big storyline is going to be Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask. And like, can one of those guys step up and have like a Geno Smith type of resurgence, or type of play where they can be smart and consistent? And can your defense be the leading factor like they were last year?
Well, that brings me to two spinoff questions. So question one, I want you to answer that question about Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield. Like, what are your expectations of that moving forward, and who do you think is going to win the job, et cetera? And then the second question was because the defense obviously is what carried that team last year. Like one thing Todd Bowles can do, he can coach defense. You know what I mean? So he needs a strong offensive coordinator, and he needs the players on the field to be like healthy. So I feel like a lot of that was out of his control, obviously, but the defense was fine until they weren't, because you can only be on the field so long. But speaking of your defense, Devin White.
Mhm.
So that's all I'm gonna say. Devin White. So
Yeah.
first one
Yeah.
and then second one.
Yeah. I mean, the Baker Mayfield versus Kyle Trask, I mean, it'll be very intriguing. That's, probably the top storyline because we have to see, who the quarterback's going to be and like if they are going to, and I think both of them fit well in this new offense that they're going to run. It's going to be very similar to the Rams offense and Seattle's, where it's, everything's based off the run game. They do a lot of bootlegs and play action, stuff like that, that fits what those two guys do. I would say probably Baker has the advantage just because he's the veteran. He's proven himself in the league. So I think he's got the opportunity to really thrive in this system. Now, again, long off season, they still have moves to be made. The offensive line has to be shored up and still have to add, playmakers and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I think Baker right now has the edge, but I wouldn't count out Kyle Trask. I think because I like his game, I like what he can present.
So
it's just who's going
follow up to that
better.
before we get to Devin White.
Yeah.
What I mean, I have not heard anything about Kyle Trask in the last 2 years, so I don't know. What are people saying about him in practice and in training camp, OTAs? Like, how is he progressing? Is he understanding the playbook? Like, what have you heard about him?
Well, I think he's done, his job as far as just learning from Tom Brady, and he was in a veteran room. I mean, learning from Blaine Gabbert and Tom, and really learning how to become a professional. And I think his game has improved, especially from year one to last year. I thought I took a lot of steps in his footwork, mechanics, being in better shape, faster delivery, all those things. So he was on the right track. Now he's got to learn a new offense with Dave Canales, but it's an offense that's going to help him a lot because this is a QB friendly offense. It also helps the offensive line as far as pass protection. So there's going to be a lot of things where I think this season you could see the Bucs offense do well early, but then the question is, can they adjust later on? But I think it'll be a very interesting battle. But as far as Devin White, I mean, I understand it. He's playing contract leverage right now. He's trying to get paid, and I think he'll probably still play for the Bucs this year and play out that option, and we'll see where it goes from there. But Devin's a guy that has to be more consistent. He's been up and down throughout his play, so that's something that has to be better, and he knows that. And it's also how can they utilize him because he's a downhill blitzing linebacker. That's what his strengths are: coming downhill, see ball, get ball. And when he has to drop back into coverage, that's sometimes where he does get lost. So those things have to get cleaned up. But if they add the certain pieces that I think they will, he'll be in a better position to, be utilized the right way.
Question, real quick question, because we have a side chat, you and I, Pless, with that one guy who shall not be named, and your co-host,
right?
Who also said, I remember in our chat saying Devin White needs to honor his contract and play it out and stop pissing and whining about that. Please tell me on your podcast you guys hashed that out. Please tell me that you did.
Yeah, we discussed it. I told him I understand what Devin White is doing. So like I don't have an issue with it. Like he wants to get his money. So I get that. Now is he worth 21 to 22 million per year? Probably not. I probably wouldn't pay him that much. But again, it's a business, and for the players, I mean, it's the contracts that it's kind of hamstrings them because of the way the NFL and it's set up and the contracts that it is. Like Devin White already is like the top 5 guaranteed money and linebackers because of his rookie deal. So it's tough. Like you really gotta be like, he's just not Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith got 100 million last year, and that's something that he's looking for. And you got to be more consistent. So that's my only thing. I look at the game tape and I'm like, okay, if you want your money, let's see you do better in these areas. And yeah, you could get that contract. But I totally get it where he's doing it right now. He's venting because he's, not getting what he wants. And I understand that.
Yeah. And we talked about it last week. It's with him, it's very interesting because obviously, during the Super Bowl run and like that era, it feels like it's so long ago. He was dominant. He was really
Yeah,
dominant, and then
yeah,
his play did slip last year a little bit. But I think what happened, I think that the whole team, everyone's kind of just everyone was just down. If Tom Brady's depressed, everyone wants to take on the image of Tom Brady. He's the leader of the locker room. So if he's depressed and losing weight and losing color and it's bad, I think the whole locker room was affected by that. Because think about it, like the effort was different.
it was.
Mike Evans dropped so many easy balls. Like everyone's focus just seemed to be off. So I think they need to take that into account. But what's your guys' like money situation? Because everyone keeps saying, "Oh, they're broke," or
Yeah.
"Oh, they can get Lamar." I've been
No.
hearing everything. What is you
Yeah.
guys' money situation?
It's very tight.
Okay.
Very, very tight. So they have to what they've been able to accomplish so far has been pretty good. I mean, I'm really impressed with what the front office has done. But yeah, they just don't have the resources right now. And they have to find ways. They have to work their magic a little bit to make things happen. But I like the offseason and what they've brought in. Adding some depth, re-signing Levante David was big, and getting Jamel Dean. Finding ways to add outside free agents, whether it be Baker Mayfield, Greg Gaines, a nice little defensive lineman, running back Chase Edmonds. So they've done a lot of different things. Ryan Neal was a steal, from Seattle. So yeah, I'm impressed with what they've done so far. But again, long way to go. The offseason goes all the way through that first game, and you have to really make the best of what you got.
I can't wait for the schedules to be released because I need to know who's coming out the gate hot and who's going to fall flat in their face. A-Rod, I'm gonna kick this off to you. Obviously, I don't want to toot my own team's horn, but Jalen Hurts got paid highest annual salary ever in the history of the NFL. Shout out to his agent. It's a woman. Like I'm always proud to see women do things like that. And she was able to get that done. So shout out to the agent. Shout out to Howie Roseman because you're looking at all these quarterback situations that happened with Dak and Kyler Murray and now Lamar.
Took care of it.
Howie, we never got, we're never gonna get to that point. Obviously, he took care of his player like he said he would. Nothing was leaked to the news. Everything was kept in house. Boom, you wake up $255 million. Like beautiful, right? So first of all, can you please comment on my Philadelphia Eagles getting that deal done? And our running topic every week. What does this mean for Lamar Jackson?
It's what does this mean for Lamar Jackson on day number 32 of no Aaron Rodgers yet? So it keeps going. I'm happy for Jalen. I'm a big Jalen Hurts fan, so kudos to Howie Roseman and in the Eagles front office of getting this done quick. Because like you said, with the quarterback situation, I feel like we have a lot of immature young guys in the league. I shouldn't say a lot, just Kyler Murray.
A few. Kyler Murray leads that. Leads that by like 50 miles. He's the most immature quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion.
I wouldn't hold Lamar to that standard. Lamar has got the resume to back it up. Kyler Murray is just a pipsqueak who's bitching about getting paid.
Really quick, I think Lamar Jackson, he's not a baby or anything like that, but he's stubborn. That's the term I'll give him.
He is stubborn. Yeah, I would agree with you there. He is stubborn. But I mean, at the same time, you're gonna give that rapist all that money, and I'm doing all this in the meantime. So I get it. But to Jalen Hurts, well deserved. He's young. He's a man in a boy's body. Basically, he's out the gates, a young dude who shows he can lead, who is the first one in the locker room, the first one out, who, if he were to hold the clipboard, he's done it before and he won't pout about it. And he's an old soul in a young man's body. And I love seeing that. Like that's the kind of guy you want. And not only is he that, he's also very, very good. So kudos to Howie Roseman to get this deal done ASA penis, because that is very big for the Eagles. That solidifies your offense now. You've got AJ Brown locked up. You've got
Devontae on his rookie
Devontae
deal.
Smith on a rookie deal still. He'll get taken care of.
We're probably going to draft Bijan Robinson. He's going to be on a rookie deal.
The Eagles are sitting pretty with what's going on there. I know they lost some pivotal pieces, but time in and time out, these guys plug it in and get it right. So, yeah, the O line is getting old, but those guys are no slouches that are old. They're household names. Lane Johnson and Kelsey are really, really good, and Howie knows how to get them. So I think the Eagles did a great job, and I think your team is on pace to be one of the best in the NFC. So in all the football, actually, I think they're still going to be relevant and still really, really good. So these people that think the Cowboys are going to be better, please stop. So, and then what does that mean for Lamar Jackson? I mean, Lamar has to be like literally that meme of Leonardo DiCaprio on the couch in what is it, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where he's just like,
yeah,
you know what? That would be more so like Eric DaCosta, like, yo, that's the deal I'm trying to give you. Take the money, Lamar.
It is, it is, but at the same time, we get it. He's stubborn, and I think the OBJ signing was the Ravens' way of saying, we're working on it, man. Like, we got you this now. This was what we needed. We needed to make sure that we have tools for you. And OBJ is a big tool to get a guy. Mm-hmm. And hopefully, I've come on, and I'm a new OBJ fan now. I'm a born again OBJ fan. I've said it numerous times. So let's just pray he can play at a high caliber level, and he's not taking a step back and digressing. But for Lamar, I mean, that's another thing. It's like the whole what's the deal for the Jets for Aaron Rodgers? We don't know. Like, we've heard some things about the Lamar stuff, and it's been rejected. We heard he wanted to trade, but we haven't heard that afterwards. What's going on? How much money is he getting? So at some point, someone's going to have to fold. Someone's going to have to throw in the cards and say, I'm out. So hopefully it's Lamar, and he signs, and it's a good deal, because I don't think they're going to jip him on anything. To be honest with you, I think they throw the feet
with the deal that Jalen Hurts just signed. Who do you think is who's going to be quicker to fold? Will it be the Ravens, or will it be Lamar Jackson?
I think it has to be Lamar. I think Lamar's going to have to be them, because he wanted more than Watson. They said no. He's been trying to talk to other teams, and it doesn't seem like any teams are very interested in him right now, because I don't know why. I think because, once again, we preach this, like, it shows hella fucking like admirability and kudos to you. Again, I hate using the word kudos. I gotta stop saying that word. It shows like great strength that you can be your own agent. But if a professional was in there, like a legit agent was in there, this shit would have been done really, really quick. And I don't know how he shows up to. I remember I read a tweet from one of the beat writers that said that he has a person representing him in meetings. Like, he's not physically going to, but he's not an agent. Like, but I'm not a rapper, but I'm not an agent.
Yeah.
And he's going in there, and like, from what the beat writer said, is like, teams are annoyed by that. They're annoyed that they're not talking to the actual guy who's representing himself. They're having a representative of the representative of Lamar Jackson, a representative of Lamar Jackson, the representative of Lamar Jackson. So it's like the secretary. So it doesn't make any sense to me. I think Lamar is having a great summer right now, and eventually is going to be like, damn, I really don't have a job. You know what?
I mean, he has a job. I mean, it's right there.
It is, but like
$32 million is waiting for him to just take for now and then still work this out.
Yeah. But like, at the same time, at some point, like, one of the Ravens push back and be like, listen, man, this is the best we can do. And like I say, it's in the ball is in his court. He's got to say, okay, let's do it. Or he can say, nah, you know what? I'm worth more. And could sit out a year. You don't know. that would be a waste of talent right there for a whole year. Lamar Jackson is sitting out.
Yeah.
That's insane to think. But I think the deal's going to get done before the draft, maybe after the draft. But I think it's as good as any that Lamar's going to re-sign with the Ravens. I think.
And I think, and again, I respect, a lot of these athletes who want to be their own agent or whatever, but out of every position in the National Football League, quarterback is the last position that you should be representing yourself, because that's the big money. That's the $500 million to Patrick Mahomes and 255 to Jalen Hurts and 230 to that's the big boy job. So I need what's his name from Entourage? Oh my God. Ari Gold. I need an Ari Gold.
Ari Gold.
I need an Ari Gold in my corner for this. So
signed, sealed, fucking delivered.
Yeah, you can't be the player and try to be Ari Gold at the same time. It's impossible, because now they're looking at you different. Like, whoa, we respect you as a player, but damn, what is this? So, yeah. But Mike, Mr. Pless, same question for you. So, the deal. First, no, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. So, January 2022. We were it was the Philadelphia Eagles playing at the Tampa Bay Bucs in the wild card round, if I'm not mistaken, 7 versus 2, and you guys blew the doors off of us. There's a picture of me at the bar we went to, and I'm just down in the dumps. So from that moment, the jump that they've made since then, can you did you see any of this coming, or did this shock you a little bit?
No, I saw it coming. I mean, I respect Jalen Hurts. I like him as not only a quarterback, but as a person. I think he's an incredible leader, great poise, athletic ability. He's got it all. And I think his leap that he's taken is just being consistent, knowing the offense in and out, and knowing where to go with the football at all times. I think his pocket presence has improved, timing, throwing with timing, doing all those things. And obviously they have a great team around him that helps, obviously. So I think the contract was well deserved. I think Lamar Jackson needs to hire Nicole Lynn as his agent.
Exactly.
That would be a great move. She's well respected around the league and has really, she's up and coming herself, and obviously getting a huge payday for herself, and that's awesome. So yeah, Jalen, I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles, I think their transformation of what they've been doing over the last several years, I mean, it's paying off now, because they've been drafting very well. They've been re-signing their own guys. They've been aggressive with certain moves. Obviously the AJ Brown move was a home run.
Wow.
That's something that Jalen Hurts needed. And getting that guy and getting rid of the Nelson Aguilars and just guys that couldn't be what he needed. And then you have tight ends and Dallas Goedert, and the playmakers in the running back room. So offensive line is stout. So they have it all, and they're doing a great job of managing their team. And really a lot of teams are trying to copy what they're doing, that's impressive. So that's a shout out to them. And, so well deserved. He definitely deserves that money. As far as Lamar, again, needs to hire an agent. I know you want to you think you deserve all this, but there's question marks with Lamar. I mean, he's been hurt. There's been inconsistencies with his play. And some of that is on the Ravens' fault. They really haven't developed him as maybe they could have.
And Greg Roman was horrible.
Right.
Horrible.
Yeah. Definitely they've been gearing around the run game, and you can only do that so much. I mean, this is a passing league. You got to find ways to be balanced. And you have to find ways to, be dynamic with what you have. You can't be predictable in this league, because defenses will figure you out. And I think some of that has taken place with Lamar Jackson. So super talented, no doubt. But as far as his demands, he's definitely going to have to lessen them to get what what he wants as far
What's
as
fair to you? Like, what do you think? Like, you're the agent. I mean, you're the GM. Like, what would you think is a good contract for him?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably, I mean, he'd probably be in the $30 million range. I would say he probably, or maybe even higher. I mean, what Daniel Jones got, what, 40 million?
Yeah.
So I would say he's at least worth that. Yeah, I would say in that range. But he's not going to get astronomical money where it's just not going to happen. I
Well,
think
what do you think from a guarantee standpoint? Because the guarantees, obviously Deshaun Watson's and his agent completely ruined the whole quarterback market, giving somebody who was going through what was going through 230 mil. So
I don't,
in my head,
I don't think Deshaun did. I think the Cleveland Browns once again destroyed everything.
that whole situation.
That was
who else but Cleveland, right?
Yeah, that was the owner. But I mean,
right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, sure, he wants fully guaranteed money, but it's just not going to happen. I don't think anyone's going to cave in. And I don't think it will be Baltimore either. So he ends up being back with Baltimore, like Alex said, and I think he's got to play his way and really show more consistency on the field to really get that kind of contract he wants.
Mm-hmm. And A-Rod, is Lamar Jackson signing with the Ravens or the field? Because I'm gonna keep having this poll every week. Ravens or the field?
I think the Ravens. I think the OBJ signing definitely did it. I think going to South Beach and the conversations and the way OBJ said why he signed there was his intention was to play with Lamar Jackson is like the best way you can say like he's coming back, but not at the same time. So I think it's going to get done.
Plus, the field or the Ravens?
Yeah, I ditto what Alex said. I think it's Baltimore. I don't feel any other team is going to be aggressive enough to give up draft picks, also give up money, all those things. So I think he's pretty much playing against himself right now. So I think Baltimore has the cards, and I think they're going to win that battle.
Yeah, 2 first rounds, and you have to pay him. It's tough. Like that's a lot right now. And
let's say
the last 6 games of this season, last few games of the last season, I don't know. Like I'm a little nervous.
What say thee, KK?
Me? I mean, am I the Ravens or am I another team? That's the question. Like, do you think who should I be? The guy trading to get him or the Ravens?
The question you asked us is what we're asking.
I know, but like
we're not...
you gotta think about it. There's 2 different mindsets to this because he's going out to go find a trade partner and he hasn't been able to figure that part out. And that trade partner has to pay him and give up 2 first. So the money's going to be a lot different, in my opinion. Now, if I'm looking at it from the Ravens standpoint, the Ravens, I don't think they're bullshitting in all the press conferences talking about, we love him, we really love him. Like, I do think that they actually do love him. I think Harbaugh has like a heart on for him. Like they're really close. So I do think that they really want him, but at the same time, business is business, and you got to just wake up and smell the potion. Like, yo, you need to agree to this because this is what we can offer. Because we don't got it in our bank account to give you 136 mil guarantee right now. We don't have it in escrow. So how about this? In my opinion, I think he should sign like a shorter term deal to give, how like LeBron did when he got to Miami, and then all his deals after that were like 2 years, 3 years with an option, 4 years with an option. I think Lamar should take that model, sign like a 3-year deal with like an option or something like that. So in 3 years, if what's 45 times 3 was that 115? No, 150. Damn, I'm good. Yeah, like 115. I'll give him 115 fully guaranteed 3 years, right? Like what was Cousins signing for? It was like 2 years, 80 or 3 years, 86 million or something like that. Like I'll try to take off to that model, but like 50 million more than what Cousins was getting. So 3 years, 115 or 120. I think that's fair. And then he can be flexible with that, and he can decide if he's played out that contract, then he deserves more money. And like all these short-term deals that Kirk Cousins has been signing, he's been making a lot of money for a guy who can't win the Super Bowl and is very average and can't play on primetime TV. He's made a lot of money. So it worked for Kirk Cousins. So he needs to figure out something like that, in my opinion.
You like that?
I'm good. I know. All right. We're going to get back to the Bucs, but it's part of the next conversation, the draft. Now, guys, if you've never heard Mike Pless, he's the best breaker downer of film of college players during this time of year. So I go on YouTube, and you just where can they find that on YouTube?
Yeah, it's Real Bucs Talk. So you just search that. It's one word, and yeah, we don't have as much draft coverage this year, unfortunately, but we did put out a new video of Darnell Wright today. So yeah, just a couple. It's a good resource. We like talking the draft. Obviously, it's Bucs related to Bucs centric. But yeah, great channel, and yeah, be sure to check it out.
Yeah, definitely, because his film study is perfect. So let's talk about the draft now. First of all, where are you with all the stuff that's been coming out with the draft and the Bucs? You guys obviously have needs, right? So
yeah,
from the film that you've been watching and the research you've been doing, what's going to be the best fit for you guys as well?
Yeah, it's a weird draft this year because the talent, there's not a lot of top end guys. So you look at it, blue chip players. So that's usually like elite talent. So you only have like 3 of them in this draft, and I consider that Jalen Carter, Bijan Robinson, and Will Anderson. So after those 3, it gets a little. I mean, it's really going to be preference on teams, like who do they like, and so you could see a lot of surprise picks. You could see a lot of.
You didn't think any of the quarterbacks?
The quarterbacks, I mean, I do like Bryce Young. I think he's the best quarterback. I think he should probably be the first pick. I do like CJ Stroud. Anthony Richardson is just a freak of nature. He's got all the measurables you want. And I think if he goes to the right system, could be very good. So he has the highest ceiling of all the 4. And then Will Levis, I think he is underrated. I think he's a guy that's hasn't been talked about as much.
Why would you say that? Like, I really, because obviously you pay attention to the a lot more details than I probably do, right? So what's your take on Will Levis? Because I personally don't feel too good about him yet, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people, when they look at the tape or they look at a guy, first thing they look at is the stats. And they say, oh, well, this guy threw this many interceptions or didn't, wasn't as good as the previous year. But you have to put things in context. You have to put, you really have to look at everything. And you look at the cast that was around him last year, it was awful. It was very bad. And if it wasn't for Will Levis, they probably wouldn't have won as many games as they did last year. And then the year before in 2021, when he did have an NFL offense coordinator and Liam Cohen, and it was an offense that he liked and fit his strengths, he did very well. And also he had a better supporting cast around him too. So his play was better. It was much, improved. So I think you have to look at the full picture when you're talking about Will Levis. And I think he's a guy that probably will be drafted somewhere in the top 10. I don't think he's going to make this crazy fall. Like, I know a lot of people were talking about him to the Buccaneers. I'm like,
I saw that a couple mocks. I've seen that.
Yeah. I'm like, that's not going to happen. I've also seen like Anthony Richardson fall into 19. I'm like, no,
he's not getting past 6.
These guys are going in the top 10. There's going to be trades. There's going to be, teams that move up to get these guys. So yeah, I mean, the quarterbacks is obviously the big storyline. But when you look at the other positions, obviously running back is pretty strong. Obviously led by Bijan Robinson. Receiver is down this year. I wouldn't take a receiver in the first round if it was me. Offensive line, offensive tackle is top heavy, not as deep. So the offensive tackles are going to go early.
Yeah.
I know Alex, his team, the Jets, are probably looking at offensive tackle as a potential pick.
But
The Bucs are looking at offensive line as well. Then the interior of the offensive line is probably deeper, not as strong, but it's deeper. And then defensively, you're led by your cornerback room. The cornerback room is probably the strongest group in this entire class. It's very strong, top to bottom. Defensive line edge is okay, average, but there's players to be had.
Mm-hmm.
And then other than that, I mean, that's pretty much it. Tight end class is pretty good.
Yeah,
Top to
This
bottom.
This is definitely one of the better tight end classes.
But it's a weird draft. I mean, there's not a lot of solid players, but I think where you want to be picking is rounds 2 through 4. That's where you're going to find your value. So I think a lot of teams are going to try to stockpile those picks.
Yeah.
So you could see potential trade backs, but again, our team's going to be willing to move up. That's going to be the storyline.
Yeah. And what about the Bucs? So, obviously, going into this season, we already knew the offensive line was going to be bad after all the injuries and trades.
Right.
And I felt like Tom Brady's timing was going to be off anyway. And he's just a little bit older and he wasn't, into it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I knew for me, offensive line, I would go probably that direction off the rip. But what do you guys, what are you predicting to see happen?
Yeah, I think offensive line is probably it's a top need. They definitely need a tackle in there. I think they're going to move Tristan Wirfs over to left tackle. I think that's probably a likely scenario.
I've been hearing his name a lot today about stuff, so I was wondering why.
Which is fine because again, he's elite tackle, and I think he can make their transition to left. But yeah, definitely looking for a tackle. It just depends on how the board falls. They could potentially move up to get one of those guys. I like Darnell Wright. I talked about him today. I like Antoine Harrison out of Oklahoma. Obviously one of the top 3 guys, whether it be Peter Skoronski or, Paris Johnson out of Ohio State, Broderick Jones. I like all those guys, but again, most likely they're going to be gone. So you're going to see a run on tackles and, other needs for the Bucs. I would say edge rusher. They definitely need some more pass rush.
No secondary, never.
The secondary, I think they're going to be looking for a nickel type player. So Brian Branch could be an option at 19.
That's what I have.
I do like Sidney Brown out of Illinois if they want to wait for a day 2 guy. So that would probably be their biggest need on the secondary. And then you look at, offensively, they could use, another receiver. They could use a tight end. So there's a couple pieces that, they'll definitely be prioritizing, but I would say offensive line or defensive line is going to be most likely that first pick.
So what do you think of the prospect of, them, maybe trading up or down or something to go get maybe a Hendon Hooker or, we'll obviously be talking about Will Levis a little bit, but like a Hendon Hooker, like you think that's that could be in the works? Or because I know a lot of scouts have him graded like the third best quarterback in this draft. That's ahead of Richardson and Levis. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, Hendon Hooker for me, it's interesting. I mean, he did have a really good season last year, but there was at times when you really dive into the tape, there's a lot of inconsistencies too. He wasn't a very friendly offensive scheme, which definitely helped him. But he has tools. He's got everything you want for a quarterback. There are negatives though. Again, already age 25. So again, you're investing into a guy who could be 30 before his next contract. And then also you have to look at the injury and how he's progressing, but it looks like he is progressing strongly. So that's good. But in the first round, probably not for me. It'd probably be too rich. If we do, trade down and maybe pick up extra picks, sure, I'm sure it'll be considered, but I would probably lean towards another position.
Okay. All right. What did you have for yours, Rob, for the Bucs picking?
My last one in 2.0, I had Brian Branch. I'm getting him.
I like him.
Very good player.
Darnell Wright is the reason Hendon Hooker shined last year. So no sacks allowed on Hendon Hooker on Darnell Wright's side. Okay. So I think ideally, like thinking about it, I think in my personal opinion, I say it every year, like, you don't have a fucking secondary. And I've been saying this for the past like 5 years now, I think, and it makes me laugh. But you've been dominant. You've been dominant. So I think everybody in the Bucs secondary, in my personal opinion, my humble personal opinion, I think they're mediocre outside of what's Woodfield. I think he's the best one that you guys got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But everybody else just it's some days they show up, some days they don't, and we praise them on their good days, and we'll throw a whole Gasparilla shit parade for them when they fuck up. So I think when the Bucs decide to smell the coffee and wake up, and get that elite corner, I think they're gonna be okay then, because I think having one guy on one side that nobody's gonna throw to, doesn't have the balls to throw to, like a Sauce Gardner. I mean, I want to my own horn. But
hey, listen, you can toot your horn with him. Like I said,
I'm loving it.
He's that guy.
I'm loving it. It's my new favorite player.
Yeah.
So I think when they get that, the defense is going to be complete in my books, because you got at least Winfield in the secondary. Mm-hmm. You got the other guy who runs around in the deep coverage, like a chicken with his head cut off, whatever. But you got that one lockdown corner. But yes, I think also offensive line play to protect your new quarterbacks that you have in town. Another thing that we didn't talk about that I think is really intriguing, that's getting a lot of steam right now, and I told you this, KK, is Trey Lance. They've been calling about Trey Lance.
Yeah.
And the Bucs are one to pick up the phone and talk about it too, I heard. So
they should.
And I told you, I still don't believe Aaron Rodgers is coming. I think I told Pless, and Pless agreed with me. Week 1 starter for the Jets in 23-24 season is going to be Zach Wilson. So I just, like I said, I haven't seen numbers. I haven't seen anything. And the Packers could say, you want to go play back home? And I'm sure Aaron Rodgers say, fuck yeah, I want to go there. So if they can get rid of Trey Lance, like, the most you would have to give up for him would be a day 3 or day 4 pick for him, is what I'm seeing in people's, like,
that's crazy
hot trades.
They traded all those picks and capital and value to go get a guy that they're never going to play on the field. Like, that's.
But you also
I would need to recoup some of my picks. Like, I would feel like I was highly a robbery for them. Like, they've been robbed.
But the trade-off is you've got a guy in Brock Purdy that you got for 4 years now, and all you got to do is pay him fucking the salary of a GM of like or I don't know, like he's like 300,000 is what he's making, something peanuts. He's getting paid peanuts, man. I mean, he's getting paid more than me, but still, it's peanuts for the NFL. So,
but he was the last pick of the draft. What do you think? That's what you get at, what was it, 256 or whatever it is. Like,
yeah, I know.
That's the cost of doing business.
Those guys don't ever make the team, though. Those guys don't ever make the team, but this kid made it. And
how do we know that was just, beginner's luck because no one had film on him?
I agree.
Or because, remember, a lot of those were like past Debo, what's his name again?
Samuel.
Samuel. And he takes it for 76 yards, breaking 12 tackles. Yeah. That's a touchdown for Brock Purdy, 76 yards. Or Greg Kittle literally being dragged by 7 people as he walks into the end zone. How do we know it wasn't a lot of superhero shit by other guys? And Brock Purdy's actually this guy.
We can play that too, but I mean, he beat some big teams at the same time. So
he ain't beat the Philadelphia Football Eagles now.
He didn't. I know, and y'all didn't win the Super Bowl either, though. So, but
who was the best quarterback in that game?
It was definitely Jalen Hurts. I won't fight you on that, bro. I'm just saying, you got to give people credit when it's due, and I'll give Brock Purdy his credit. But I also agree with you. We don't have enough film on the guy. So you'll be damned to think that, like, that he's not going to play next year, most of the season, that they're not going to be watching that film on and be like, this is the way this guy plays. But the 49ers also are one of those teams that put together a good team to make the quarterback. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo was not that good. I'm sorry. If you think Jimmy Garoppolo is great, like, the Patriots were put together perfect for Jimmy Garoppolo to play 2 games and be good and get paid. And the 49ers were really fucking good to get Jimmy Garoppolo there to have a subpar year. we poo-poo on Jimmy Garoppolo all the time. Like if it was Aaron Rodgers, they would win the Super Bowl every year. But it's Jimmy Garoppolo. So
Hey, but Jimmy's what 2-3-0 against Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs.
he is.
I mean, there was that one he only completed like 8 or attempted like 8 passes, but that's a dub for him under his belt.
It is. But I think it's intriguing to see the whole Trey Lance thing. Back to that is if a team, because now I'm reading a lot up into the Texans now. The Texans are like, they don't want anybody but Bryce Young. And I'm, I think they're at that point that like you need to get a quarterback. You need to get a quarterback. If you go and get Will Anderson, tip of the hat to you. Somebody's going to be.
What did I tell you last week? You said no chance. I said, this is what I'm hearing, that they're really considering not drafting a quarterback.
I saw it, but like now I'm reading the beat writers more, and they're saying like they're going more in depth on it now. It's a whole week since then. Like when you said that, it was fresh. It was really fresh, and now I'm seeing it. I think they'll be stupid not to draft a quarterback because I don't think Davis Mills is the answer. I couldn't tell you who the backup is, and yeah, you need somebody to put people in the stands and sell jerseys.
And you have a defensive head coach. Let's not forget that. Like, and a rookie one at that. So yeah, you need to make sure that you got the quarterback room situated.
It's 1 year, one and done probably for DeMarco Ryan. So my favorite we bring in black head coaches and we get rid of them fast as quick. So like fast food restaurants, in and out.
Mike, what do you think about the whole Texas situation? Because you've probably seen that too. Like, what do you think? I mean, do you think there's any chance that, first of all, Trey Lance? What do you think about that? But is there any chance that the Texans don't draft a quarterback at 2?
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. I mean, you want to get, especially when you're picking that high, you want to get an elite player. You want to get a guy that's going to come in and be great right away, or at least good right away. And Will Anderson definitely has that upside and potential. Like I said, he's one of the 3 blue chip players that I see in this draft. So if you can add something like that to your defense where it affects, the quarterback, and it's a premium position as well, you definitely pull the trigger on that. You also have pick 12. So you have to think
a little bit of leverage there.
Right. You have to think of that. Like, there's a possibility that, one of those quarterbacks could fall to you there. It's always a possibility. So you have to look at those options and see. And they'll probably definitely inquire about Trey Lance. I think that's smart to do, especially if you can buy low and have, a high reward opportunity. But he's also coming off an injury too. Same thing with Brock Purdy. I know you guys were talking about him, and like he's coming off a serious elbow injury.
Yeah, that's Tommy John.
Yeah, so that's hard, to overcome. And so San Francisco's in a tough spot, especially with their quarterback position. They really don't know what they have. And yes, Brock Purdy had success last year, but you look at San Francisco, they are very scheme based. That's how they operate. Kyle Shanahan is a genius on offense. He knows how to put guys in position to have success. That's something, Alex and I have talked about with Byron Leftwich, and like Byron Leftwich didn't do that for the Buccaneers. And when you look at the Buccaneers talent and you look at Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and guys like that should be utilized in different ways and can really take advantage of what they offer on the field, that wasn't happening.
Kyle Shanahan is like Harvard, okay? So like, you gotta you can't compare Byron Leftwich.
No. I agree. I agree because Byron just hasn't shown that. He hasn't shown that capability. So when you look at San Francisco, though, they're just smart in how they operate. They know how to attack people, and that's what helps your quarterback. And that's huge. But yeah, Texans, I think, it really depends on what happens at 1, but most likely I think it's going to be Bryce Young. And if you don't feel strong about CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, or Levis at 2, then take the best guy available and make your team better. Because quarterback, you could wait for next year where it's going to be maybe a stronger quarterback class, but at the same time, it's no guarantee that you get a top 5 pick. But you're in a situation with Houston where, you're not competing this year. You're trying to build this thing up from the the ground to the top and try to build a foundation. So you need foundational players. So if you get that in Will Anderson, you got to go after it.
I mean, to me, I think he's the best player in the draft. Personally, I like
very consistent.
And again, I know so when you're the first pick, you obviously traded up Carolina to get that pick. If you trade up to go draft an edge rusher or a linebacker, it's like kind of strange. You know what I mean? Like typically you're trading that to get the greatest offensive lineman ever or a quarterback. Like that's what you do. So. But yeah, to me, Will Anderson is definitely the best player. So, like, if the Texans draft him, I would assume that they draft him at 2, and then try to trade up because they have the most picks in the draft, like the most picks. So, try to trade up from that 12 to 4. I mean, trade with the Cardinals so they have back-to-back picks. I mean, they can give up a lot of picks to the Cardinals, and the Cardinals need a lot, so might as well,
pick owner too. You definitely need a new owner. That's for sure.
They need a lot. Okay, so if that's what they're trying to do, then I'll be like, okay, now you get Will Anderson and Bryce Young. That's scary. That's really scary. So we'll see what happens there. A-Rod. So obviously, I know you're following this Aaron Rodgers thing, but I don't want you to get too caught up on that draft wise, right? Because is that pick in play still, or absolutely no way they're not going to give up that pick?
Oh, we're not giving up that pick. No, we need a good old line guy. Like we need to get one because Becty is coming back and he's lost a lot of weight. I'll give him props. I retweet his story every day on my Twitter to see his progression when he was a fat slob and ran that like wide receiver 40. And that's the only reason the Jets drafted him. Was like, that guy can run. Like he passes. What are we grading on O lineman's speed for? Like, I'm sorry, that doesn't do anything for me. I need to see your side to side, and I need to see a Brinks truck run into you and you stop it. Is what
I need to see your 10-yard split. Honestly, like I need to see what that's looking like.
Yeah, I don't need to see you going 40 yards because it ain't happening. Because the only time the O line guy is running 40 yards when it's an interception, and he wants to do that, and if he does that, probably gonna pull something because he's a slob most of the time. So I haven't seen them trading that pick. The beat writer hasn't like tantalized anything. There's your word of the day, tantalizing. I think we should make this a common thing.
Last week was nomenclature, Pless, in case you didn't know. The word of the week last week was nomenclature.
They haven't dangled that out there. And it's gotta be O-line. It's gotta be O-line unless one of these top guys that are graded falls, then I would say pounce on that. But I want Paris Johnson, and if he's not there, then I want Darnell Wright or Broderick Jones are the 3 that I want. But Peter, whatever's Polish last name, he's going to the Bears because of that last name, and he went to Northwestern. He's staying in the States. So
he's gonna be in that cold ass snow, just like killing people on the
he knows it. He knows it already, bro. Like the Bears. I know the way the Bears draft. They don't do nothing tricky. It's like, oh, there's a Polish guy out there. We're gonna go get that guy and put him on the Bears. We're gonna get him.
Bears.
That'd be a good pick.
He's very good.
You
got to protect that quarterback. He runs a lot. All right, Plus. Instead of you talking about the Jets, I need you to be a GM again. I need you to be the Eagles GM. Okay. So we have pick 10, we have pick 31.
I got a new twist on it now.
I'm very, very intrigued by the services of Bijan Robinson and Nolan Smith. I don't know how we'll get that done, but that's besides the point. What would you do if you were in our situation?
Yeah, I think they have everything on the table. So it's a beautiful position to be in as a team. And, they could go offensive line. They could go, edge rusher. You could even go cornerback. Like there's a lot of things they could do. So yeah, Bijan Robinson would be a hell of a pick. That'd be a lot of fun. It really makes the offense that much more dynamic and probably unstoppable when you think about it. He would probably easily win the rushing title because in that offense, it would just It would be
Watch out.
scary.
Watch out for
Yeah.
Brees. Watch out
Ooh,
for Brees Hall coming back, baby.
I love it.
But it would be scary. And Nolan Smith, I love. That's probably my
Sleeper
favorite.
of the
That's
first.
my favorite player in the draft.
Same.
I love what he brings to the table. Incredible kid, first and foremost. And everyone talks about the size and everything, but when you turn on the tape and what he was able to do, and Georgia asked their players to do a lot of two gapping where they have to take on double teams, and they're really committed to stopping the run. So when you allow a guy like this to really go after the quarterback and affect it with that type of speed, it could be very good. And he'll be a player like Trayvon Walker last year. That was the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
A lot of people were saying, well, he only had this many sacks. He only had
but
this
he does
that. But the dude was legit. Like he knows how to affect the quarterback, and ended up having a pretty good rookie year. So that's where I see Nolan Smith. So yeah, that would make a lot of sense, especially with the Eagles defensive line getting a little bit older. You still have, Brandon Graham, and you still have Josh Sweat. There's a lot of good pieces on there. Hassan Reddick, obviously. And then interior defense line too, very strong. So yeah, they have so many options they could do. It's really, really in a good spot.
And we're talking about like size. With Nolan Smith. I mean, that was the same argument they had on Nakobe Dean, and we've had him in the lab over the last year. You guys haven't seen him enough, but we just had him in the lab playing special teams, and then there was a game. I forgot who got hurt. It was I think it was T.J. Edwards. Or Kazir White, one of our linebackers got hurt, and it was like the fourth quarter, and they put Nakobe Dean in, and he went 6 for 6 on tackles. Like he was like getting so like it was like he got to the ball so quickly, and then he just wraps up, and like he's strong and he's smart as shit too. I mean, he's a mechanical engineer or something like that, or some like he's literally like a genius, and he's quick, and he has football smarts and everything like that. So I think if you have somebody like a Nolan Smith that's available to you, I don't care what size he is, they just figure it out. They always do. So that's what I want. And then Bijan. Oh, go ahead, Aaron.
He's the guy I see slipping right now is Nolan Smith. So it's easily obtainable for y'all, because I saw him going in the middle, but now I see him going in the 20s. So it's easily obtainable for that.
Someone's blowing smoke.
I don't think I see a lot of guys who are drafting him lower down there, and I think I don't know like what his interview process was. I don't know if he's like doesn't speak well, or he doesn't have a high football IQ, or they just think he's like coachable. Maybe it's the size. I don't know, but dude won a national championship, and he's a big reason why they won a national championship.
2.
Yeah.
2.
He's no slouch. So I think Bijan Robinson and Nolan Smith are 2 obtainable guys for you. But he's definitely my first day sleeper in the entire draft, because like I've seen him going as high as 8, and I've seen him going like first day second round, or on day 2, like top of the thing. So he's definitely a wild card player, but that's a guy I would definitely take in the first round. I'd love the Jets to get him, but we don't really need another linebacker. I mean, I love Devin White. I'd love to have him in green and white, but
I mean, I would love Devin White too, Mike. If you're offering, I'll take him off of your hands.
yeah. I mean, those are. I know the Eagles were like kind of linked, or I know he liked something about the Eagles.
We did it last year with AJ Brown. We saved him from his from his deal and brought him home.
Right. Yeah, no, it's interesting, especially about talking about rankings and like certain guys, and that's why this draft is very strange, because you can see a lot of names that you're not thinking are going to be first round picks, and they're going to end up being first round picks. So the consistent
range for the Patriots.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
God. So like the consensus board is going to be all over the place. So you can see a lot of surprises in this draft, which makes it fun. And that will be something to watch. But yeah, Nolan Smith, after Will Anderson. I know the other guy, Tyree Wilson, are probably the top two. You look at Lucas Van Ness as well.
Yeah.
That's the guy I originally had.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a group. When you look at certain positions, just certain guys can be ranked over others because it's based on the team and what their preferences are.
Who are your top 3 corners in the draft, in your opinion?
Cornerback, I love Devin Weatherspoon. I think he's top notch. And then after that, I love Deontay Banks out of Maryland. I think he's really good. And then Joey Porter Jr. is another guy that I like a lot. And Christian, obviously Christian Gonzalez. I think he's very solid. He's probably the one that has been linked in the top 10 the most.
Yeah.
But I would keep an eye on Weatherspoon out of Illinois. I think that guy could go as early as 3 to Arizona. So just have to keep an eye on that position. But that position is going to have a run where it goes early because it's so strong.
Because that's another position that, I mean, Darius Slay's 32, and I'm happy we're able to keep him, but he's also 32. And, Bradbury, we got him at a good deal. But that's somebody else that we could really just, have that position locked down. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting next week. I don't know what we're going to do yet, but we're going to do something for this draft. I just haven't figured it out. A-Rod's supposed to be helping me with that. So I'm relying on A-Rod to help me figure out what we're going to do for the draft because you got to do it big.
I'm so sorry, guys. I'm the event coordinator. I'm slacking. I have a new title.
Brian, that was you can see it in the fine print. You must not have been reading it.
The event coordinator as well. I'm fine with it.
So when needed. But we'll figure out the draft next week. We're gonna have our last mock draft next week as well. Mock draft 3.0. So this is the draft that we're putting out where we are putting all our chips in. And A-Rod did pretty good last year with his. Mine was all over the place. So this is the big one. So next week Thursday in Kansas City. All right, Mike, have you been watching the NBA at all?
To be honest, I haven't. So I did some preparing, and I just looked at the brackets and like who's winning their series, and I'm like, wait, Sacramento is in the playoffs. I'm like, that's awesome. And like, the Lakers being Memphis, so there's a lot of intriguing matchups, obviously, Boston and Philly, versus Brooklyn, Cleveland, New York. I think that's a great series. It looks like. And then Miami, Miami beating Milwaukee. So that's very
because Giannis is not playing. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah. A-Rod, you guys tied up the series. I mean, you guys were tied up. They tied it up on you guys. The Cleveland Cavaliers, Darius Garland had a fantastic game too. And then Tom Thibodeau was still keeping his players out when they were down 40,000 points in the last minute of the game. So it's 1-1 now. Give me your where's your mind at right now from what you've watched?
So we shut down Donovan Mitchell the last game, but we left Darius Garland wide open. And I don't know. I was watching that game and like Julius Randle came out a lot in that game. So it tells me he's still banged up.
He is.
Obviously at the end of the game he got banged up some more. So there's something going on with Julius. Josh Hart has got the ankle issue. He's got a sprained ankle. He played on it. He did all right. He didn't wow me a lot like he did the first game. Jalen Brunson is that dude. And I need RJ Barrett to step up. I know I love him a lot, but like I've
I tell you this about him.
It's
something like I just don't see that in him. Like I think
I see it in him, but like the emergence of Jalen Brunson, like we didn't think this was going to happen.
Yeah,
we didn't think he was going to be this good.
I mean, yeah, Dallas is kicking themselves in the ass.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't think he was going to be this good, and I don't think RJ Barrett thought either. I think year 2 with this nucleus is going to work, and it's going to work really, really good. I just think RJ Barrett has to figure his role but he's got to step it up in the playoffs. And I know this is his second time. Yeah, it's his second time in the playoffs. So I need to see a little bit more from him here. He's been here before. He doesn't want. I don't want to go out first round. That's not what I want.
Yeah.
And for Stephen A too. I don't give a fuck about Spike Lee. Spike Lee is the omen. So Stephen A is like a realist. He said, it's going to be tough this game, but they should be able to do it. And they didn't do it. And he's like, now you got to come to the Garden. Like, it's going to be tough in the Garden. But Donovan Mitchell's wanting that. He wants to hear that shit. So for me, it's what we did the first game was great. Let Donovan Mitchell score and shut down the other guys. Shut them all down. Okay? Don't try and get cute and just shut down Donovan Mitchell because the other guys woke up. All the other guys woke up. So that's what I need them to do. And Cleveland can pull away quickly. They can easily be down 10 and come back because they got scorers on that team. The Knicks just they're so inconsistent. That's the thing, is like they lost like a regular season game. Didn't look like a playoff game last one. Like, I know up until the third quarter or in the second quarter they were neck and neck, and then Cleveland just started to pull away. And I was like, damn, man, this is what's going to happen. They're going to beat them by a lot. And they ended up beating them by like, what, 11 or 12, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that in the playoffs. So what I need to do is I need that home court advantage. I need that New York faithful there. I need them loud as can be. I need Julius Randle getting a day off, getting his body right.
Yeah.
Him regular season Julius Randle, not this banged up playoff Julius Randle. I need RJ Barrett to wake up, and Jalen Brunson, I got nothing to say to. Like, he's doing his job. He is doing his job. So make your free throws. That's all I can say to Jalen Brunson. Make your free throws because you missed like 4 last game. So you're not Shaq. But yeah, I'm still saying in 6. I'm still saying in 6, but definitely go to 7.
Like it.
Still could go to 7. So
let's just jump to it. Another series that's been very physical, very exciting. Light the beam. Mike literally just looked at the bracket and was like, "Oh my God, the Kings are in the playoffs." Yeah, the Kings are not only in the playoffs; they're up 2-0 on the Golden State Warriors, and
yeah, that's impressive.
It's so hard for me to watch Sacramento Kings games because, like, first of all, it's late, and if I'm going to watch a late game, I'm not going to watch Sacramento. It's just I've been accustomed to over the last 16 years, post Chris Webber and Pedro Stojakovic and Vlade Divac and Mike Bibby, like that whole team. Like, yeah, it's boring. I don't want to watch them play. Now, I was watching them play the game 2 against Draymond Green and his Warriors, and the amount of running and sprinting and cutting and movement that they do, like, and Mike Brown just won unanimous Coach of the Year today, and he was worth every vote. Like, what he did with that Sacramento team to go from 16 straight years out of the playoffs to 2-0 on the defending champs. So 3rd seed in the West. So I'm very impressed with their style of play. But there was a moment, Mike, were you able to see that moment of Draymond Green and Sabonis?
I did not, but obviously I'm not surprised hearing Draymond Green's name.
So, just so you know, so Sabonis is on the floor. I guess he got knocked down or whatever. And Sabonis grabs Draymond Green's ankle. And then Draymond Green, like, takes his ankle up out of the lock or whatever that it was on and stomped on his chest and then jumped off of him. Okay?
Yeah.
He was ejected from the game, obviously. His histrionics and he was going crazy. He was cussing out somebody in the stands. He was like on top of the chairs and tables, yelling at everybody.
And they were playing that shit too. Yeah. TNT was playing that.
I tweeted. I said, Draymond Green doesn't give a shit, and neither does TNT, because they were highlighting it like, yo, we got to get this camera on. They're like TMZ in it, and little did we know, because I completely didn't even think about it, Adam Silver was at the game. So basically, somebody with a bad, like you said, you're not surprised at Draymond Green. Somebody with a bad track record as him not only got ejected, but he's been suspended for Game 3. Well, kind of just going off of that, right? Is the NBA wrong to suspend him for a pivotal Game 3, being that they're down 0-2? And just start there, and we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, no, I don't think they're wrong. I mean, obviously he's got a history. So I mean, he knows that this was likely to happen. So, but I also understand like his action, like just don't touch me.
Yeah.
Why are you grabbing my ankle? But again, he took it a further step and stepped on his chest. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, not surprised. And with his track record and everything, it makes sense, and I think it's the right move, because you have to send a message. Stuff like that, it just can't take place, and you have to be better.
A-Rod.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but play stupid games, win stupid prizes, man. At the same time, and it's Draymond Green. Like you're gonna get that. You're gonna get the chirpiness. He's gonna get under your skin. He's a great defensive ball player. Like that's what the great defensive. Well, I shouldn't say the great, because like Ben Wallace is pretty quiet as shit. But I mean, good defensive ball players.
Ben Wallace basically started the malice at the palace. Literally, was his fault for getting so aggressive in 45 seconds.
Ben Wallace got that dog in him too.
Just want to point that out there.
But the best defensive players, they're very chirpy. I mean, Pat Bev, he's good defensively. He's very chirpy.
Yeah.
So those
Gary
guys,
Payton.
Yeah, Gary Payton, same way. Lance Stevenson was pretty locked down too. I mean, very chirpy guy. So
Kawhi Leonard, not chirpy. Not chirpy at all.
No emotion whatsoever. I think the NBA did it right. It's unfortunate. I think the NBA got it right, though. It's unfortunate. I think the no pay part is a little bit too much for me. I think the no pay part's a little too much, but I get what the message you're trying to send. Like, you do this, you're not getting paid. So I get that. Of course, I'm still salty about the Jared Allen thing, and I know Jared Allen's a good dude. I got nothing bad to say about that man. That man looks like he's wearing the 2012 Target catalog attire when he comes to the games. So like, he doesn't care about shit like that, but he's good defensively.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. That's all I can say. And on the Warriors end, like, they've been bad on the road the entire year, and it looks like they're dragging that into the playoffs.
I mean, nothing has changed. Even with Wiggins back, they still suck on the road. They can't do it.
Wiggins is balling, man.
Yeah, he's playing fine, but that team does not. I don't know. They're not the same team that they were.
So let me throw a question out there now. Is Father Time finally catching up to the Warriors?
No.
You don't think so?
I think focus is just is very. I mean, Draymond maybe, but Klay Thompson to me was the best player on the team this year. Like, Klay Thompson balled this year, and Steph Curry, he's being defended well. They're Davion Mitchell from Baylor. This is his second. He's playing his ass off, guarding him. And I forgot who said it on a podcast the other day, but they said, like, guarding Steph Curry, like, you feel like you want to die after, because all of this is movement and cuts and screens and movement. Like, and then when he gets the ball, he's shooting, so you don't want to foul him, but you don't want to be too far. Or when he puts the ball on the floor, he's quick. He knows how to dribble. Like, he's a nightmare to defend. So I think Davion Mitchell is doing the absolute best that he could. The help defense is pretty decent as well. And I think the overall movement of the Sacramento Kings is making the Warriors tired. So that could be a thing. And then also, Draymond Green is the most important player on that team. Obviously, Steph is the best. But what Draymond was able to do for them on the defensive end, and kind of just make sure the offense kind of runs accordingly. Like, he's a big deal for them, and a lot. But now they're being led more by Jordan Poole. You know what I mean? Like, they're really trying to invest in their young guys. Like, okay, we really need to display them. So it's unfortunate, obviously, that he got suspended, but From the Kings standpoint, I think they're playing fantastic basketball. Light the beam. Now they have to go to Golden State and try to steal one. And obviously game 3 would be the one to steal with no Draymond. But yeah, I mean the Warriors it's hard to really determine what team is going to show up because obviously they've been horrible on the road. But I think a lot of that, them being down 0-2, I think the Kings are just better than them. Like they're like the worst possible matchup for the Warriors because they're playing like Mike Brown was the defensive coordinator for that Warriors team for the last 8 years. He was the assistant coach with Steve Kerr. He knows exactly how to stop them and how to play them because he was there every day at practice. So I think this was the worst possible outcome for the Warriors to draw. Between I mean, the Clippers would have been bad too. The Suns would have been hard too. So there was really no shot for them, in my opinion.
The Kings have a lot of athleticism. I mean, I think that plays to their hand. And you look at Golden State, a little bit older. Obviously Steph Curry at 35. You got Draymond at 33.
He's 35.
Yeah, 35 already.
Holy moly, where did the time go?
But again, it's a different dynamic with Golden State. And I think they've had their ups and downs this year, obviously inconsistent. Injuries have played a part. So yeah, I mean, when you look at the Kings though, I mean, just they know how to play as a team. De'Aaron Fox, awesome point guard.
Clutch player of the
year. They just know how to play up tempo, ball movement, a lot of things that Golden State does well too. So it's kind of like a back and forth battle. But yeah, it looks like the Kings have the edge right now as far as just overall unit and athleticism.
Yeah. Okay. Now, have there been, for you, A-Rod, what would you say your biggest surprises and disappointments have been with this playoffs? You can't say the Kings and you can't say the Knicks.
I'm not going to say either of those. I think it would be, I can't give it to the other those 2 teams because obviously Giannis went out and Ja went out, so that's kind of tough.
Well, as we speak right now, Memphis is up. They're doing the thing. They look like they might be winning this series. I mean, this game. So
yeah. I don't know. I mean, we said Jimmy Butler's a problem, man. Jimmy's a problem, and I know they're losing. I think the Heat are losing 2 last I saw, but I guess maybe the Clippers taking game 1 from the Suns. I think that was a big one for me because I feel like without Paul George they're not that good, but and I heard this on a podcast, or I think I heard it from an NBA player say it about Russell Westbrook. Is like we poo-poo him for like not being a great shooter or the scorer he used to be, but all the other little things that he does, the defense, the hustle, the trash talk to get under your skin, like he does a lot.
Yeah,
he does a lot. So I think Russell Westbrook in the playoffs is a problem. So we'll see if he can keep that up. I mean, obviously Phoenix did win game 2. But like I don't like that Clippers bench at all. Like I just think it's like Bones Highland is like Bones dry. I feel like he's whatever. And I mean, Eric Gordon's the only exciting piece to come off the bench, really.
Because I think he's like 30. I think he's like 35 too.
Yeah. Like he's just a scorer. He's a pure scorer. And Norman Powell's a baller, but he disappeared last game. And yeah, I'll give it to the Clippers winning game 1 because I thought they were gonna, not be able to go into Phoenix and do that. That's Kevin
You're talking
Durant's
about
home.
bench. Phoenix's bench is nothing to smile about either.
Horrible.
I think Phoenix has the worst bench in the playoffs.
Oh, I agree. But the bench isn't going to play. Like it's Kevin Durant, bro. Did you see him hitting all those sideline shots, those baseline shots? I was like,
well, it's Kevin Durant. You know who I am.
No, exactly. They don't need a bench. Like if you put Kevin Durant,
he's also in his 30s too. He's not, and he has chronic like ankle and Achilles and knee problems. So
you could cut Kevin Durant's leg off, and I'd still pick him to beat whoever he's playing against. Man, if you took the same situation with Kyrie, because I feel like the Suns and the Dallas Mavericks did the same exact thing. They got rid of their entire bench to get one guy. All right. And if you put Kevin Durant with Luka, it would have worked. If you would have put Kyrie on the Suns, it would have worked a little bit, I think. But I think Kevin Durant is just an elite scorer. And I'm not a big Kevin Durant fan at all. I'm not. I think he's a snake. I think he just wants to go places he's going to win.
No, he's not very alone. He's just, he loves basketball, bro. That's what he likes.
He loves basketball. He loves flaming you on his Twitter accounts. He doesn't want to brush his hair, like all them things, man. But Kevin Durant, I respect his game. He's a baller. And I just think he's going to take advantage of you any way he can. And I give it to the Clippers going in there and winning one in Phoenix. That's what I'm going to give it to. That was my surprise. Because the other ones are inevitable. No Ja, Lakers should win. No Giannis, take advantage, Miami. So
who do you think is the best team that you've seen play so far? Like their best game, me, I'm looking at Boston, and quite frankly, I'm looking at the Nuggets too. Like I'm watching Atlanta. Obviously, we didn't think Atlanta's going to be doing anything in this series anyway, but like they're beating the shit out of the Hawks. Like it's like disgusting. And the same thing with the Nuggets. By the time this airs, they'll be playing tonight, so we'll see how that goes. But they just look like they were toying with the Timberwolves. So it's just like, who do you think has been the best team you've seen so far?
Nuggets for sure. I mean, the Nuggets are a very complete team, and I think they just outmatch what Minnesota's trying to do. So, I mean, Joker, or is it, how do you say his name?
It's the Joker, whatever he wants it to be.
Jokic is how you pronounce it. Yeah, that guy's a stud. I mean, he's been, one of the best players in the league. But what they have around him is very solid. So, yeah, I mean, to blow out Minnesota like they did, that's impressive to me. As they should. Again, number one seed. They should.
I look at the Timberwolves as like a dangerous 8 seed, but they're so young, and they never get out of their own way. Like it's crazy.
Right.
So you're gonna like my answer. I do like Boston, but like that's inevitable that they mash up on the Hawks.
Yeah,
I told you already. The Hawks have so much issues going on right now internally. Yeah. There's a lot of things going on there. Like when you say right before the playoffs start, that you're thinking about trading Trae Young, like there's shit going on there. Inevitable. My answer, you'll love it. Philadelphia, bro. I love the way them boys are playing, man.
Ooh.
And I know it's against the Nets, but what did I tell you about Mikal Bridges, man? Mikal Bridges is a star waiting to shine.
Yeah.
He can't be the fourth option. And that team is playing well. They have a team full of role players and one star in Mikal Bridges for sure. But when I was watching the Philadelphia game, they were down like 10 at the half, and they came back and beat them by like 10. So it's like these boys, they're right. They're ready for the playoffs. Joel Embiid's coming to get that MVP. Tobias Harris is showing up. James Harden. You're not going to get the
Tyrese Maxey.
And Tyrese
best player on the team.
Joel Embiid is the best player.
I know. I'm just kidding. That's my favorite player on the team, though.
Tyrese Maxey, though, is definitely showing out, though. Yeah. And the bench is playing well. I like Philly. And I think seeing Boston next round is going to be test of time right there.
I just hope it's a good series. Like, I don't want to get ahead of myself, obviously, but let's be honest. It should be, us against them, right? I just hope that we show up, because when it comes to Boston, we don't know how to beat them. Like, it doesn't matter if we had Ben Simmons or James Harden or Lou Williams, or like, it doesn't matter. We can't beat Boston. Over the last few years, it's been like disgusting. Like, they own us. So I know Boston's going to show up. I just don't know if we're going to be able to show up, because if you have old ass Al Horford still being able to guard Joel Embiid one-on-one, that's dangerous. Like, Brooklyn's playing triple team and double team on Joel Embiid because they have no choice. And Boston, on the other hand, they're willing to play one-on-one against him and know how to fill in the lane when they need to. So I mean, if we show up, it'll be a good series. And if we don't, gentlemen's sweep, maybe in 6 at the max. So Yeah, I'm not too confident about that. But any other series or anything else that excites? I know there's a lot of injuries, but John Morant, with the hand, Tyler Hero with his hand. Yeah, I think the big one obviously is Giannis with the back because we saw Giannis come back from a crazy knee injury like quickly before, and that
We
was
thought
one
it was
thing.
out.
That was one thing. We thought he tore his ACL and he was back. But this one, it's a back. I mean, your back controls everything. So, Miami took advantage of that in game one. Game two, they're down 20 as we speak. So Milwaukee has figured it out. I think Milwaukee's the best team in the playoffs. For all around. Like they have the deepest team. To me, they're my favorite to win the championship still. But if he's able to come back game three, I think he should be fine. The fact that they were considering playing him in this game against the Lakers, that means he's close to not. It's just, I mean, they checked the X-rays and everything. Everything came back negative. It's just pain tolerance at this point. So, I think he should probably be ready to play game three as well. But yeah, I think the injury and then Tyler Hero. I don't know how much he's going to help against a healthy Milwaukee anyway. So, I think the injuries are not a big concern. They're annoying, but there's a lot more. There's a lot of good basketball being played right now for me to worry too much about all the injuries. So that's kind of where I stand on that. But Pless, I want to give the floor to you. Okay, what is something that's been buzzing on your mind lately that you kind of just felt the need to talk about? Like, what is there's got to be something that's been bugging you in the world of sport that you're like, I just want to talk about this right now. So we call this Pless's Corner. Okay, go ahead.
PC.
PC, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I always talk with this with Alex about the Rays and like their regular seasons and how they have success, but when it comes to postseason, it just doesn't work. And they love playing that money ball, but like I tell Alex,
Second
money,
favorite quote.
yeah,
Moneyball play wins
yeah,
you games, but that's
but
about it.
not championships,
Not
and
rings.
yeah, and I'm like, that's what you have the pieces, right? You have certain pieces in place, but you just need just that little push over the edge to get you where you want to go. And for whatever reason, they don't do it. They continue to stay with their motto, but right now it's working. Obviously, 16-3, you can't complain about that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I hope they find a way to be aggressive and find a way to get that extra piece that they're going to need come playoff time, because the offense in the playoffs can't have one hit and expect to
be a
do
home run.
Yeah, to do anything.
Still lose.
But yeah, that was definitely on my mind. And then I already talked about the Lightning situation. This is a team that I think can get back to the Stanley Cup.
It'll be tough, but
pretty
they can.
easily. I feel like they can do it, because they just know how to. That's a team that knows what they're doing in the playoffs, and as compared to the Rays, like they know what it takes to get there. But yeah, I mean, as far as current events, NFL draft, that's on my mind right now. I love football. I love the NFL. I love the show that we get as far as NFL is. It's like every day something happens.
Yeah.
It's always, it's like a soap opera, and it's really fun to tag and just see it play out.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for this Buccaneers team. I'm excited to see what they do this year. I really feel they can still compete and be competitive. I don't know how many wins that's going to be. I think their floor is probably 6 wins. I think that's where I see them. Do they have the potential for maybe 9 or 10? Yeah, sure. Any team does. It just depends on, what kind of play you get from your quarterback and how things go throughout the season. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't just been looking forward to the next events that are coming in the sports world, and really looking forward to enjoying them.
All right, so we'll finish off with this. Going back to the Rays, because obviously, it's the season has looked great so far. But, when that camera comes out and does a stadium view, there's like 15 people in the stands. So first of all, have you been following, all this, the news and everything with them trying to figure out the whole, where they're going to move the team to a different
stadium
location? Yeah. Like, have you been keeping up with that? And I mean, what do you think needs to happen, like, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, the issue with the Trop is it's not central, it's not located in where the population is, so obviously it'd be ideal to have it somewhere in Tampa where, there's more access for people to get to the stadium. Also, you got to make it a event, these days where you have things surrounding the stadium where it's a place to go have dinner or, go out and, like the Lightning have where it's, you have places around there that you can go to have
That's
fun.
back in downtown.
Yeah. So I think that's something that's missing.
And the Bucs have a lot of strip clubs.
Bring your ticket, 15% off.
Yeah. But I also think, and I hate to say this, but I think some of it is just the game of baseball. Again, not baseball is not for everyone. And I think that's something that, people just don't like. You look at investing your money and where do you want to put it towards, would you go to a Lightning game versus a Rays game? And I think a lot of people would say probably a Lightning game just because it's so fun, it's fun seeing it live, and baseball is something where you can sit at home and watch it on TV and be okay with that. And again, that's different for everyone. I know Alex loves baseball and he would probably want to be at the game, and if he could be at the Yankee Stadium every night, he probably would do it,
I'd be at the Ray Stadium too, man, and Yankee, but I love baseball, man.
But listen, you were talking about they need to make it fun, right? I've told A-Rod this story and others. I went to Houston to watch Justin Verlander versus the Texans. I went to Minute Maid Park. It was literally the most fun place I've ever been in my entire life. I mean, they had ice, they had Dippin' Dots, they had the big ass burgers for less the price than they sell it from here. They had, it was just lights, camera action everywhere. It felt like I was at a lounge, like a fun club place, like an interactive club with the game being played right down there. And the Rays don't have that. Like, it's boring. Like, the Trop is boring. So I think definitely them moving into a location that's, I think you want to be around like where the young people want to go. Like, they can make it, they can cater it because a lot of people who moved here, and I would say it's like 21 to 40-year-olds. So you're going to want to find something that's going to entertain 21 to 40-year-olds. So, just appeal to them and just kind of be local enough for like, or close to a family, like the Bucs, for example. There's a lot of families that live like on Himes and around Bucks State. Like, they've been going to every Bucks game since '97 or something like that because it's like a local. It has a very local feel to it when you're over there. So I think that's why you see a lot of stadiums are put in very weird places. Like, I heard Green Bay is like in a neighborhood. Like, it's literally like the Lambeau Field is in the middle of a like neighborhood, and that's why they love the Packers so much because like that's like their team, and with the Rays, it's like, first of all, a lot of people move here that are not from here. Second of all, it's all the way in St. Pete. The game is at 7:00. That means traffic is going to be bad. If the game's at 1:00, traffic is still somehow bad. So it's like, damn. So yeah, making that drive, you got people who live in Riverview. You think they're driving all the way to St. Pete, or somebody in Lakeland, for example? You think they're driving all the way to St. Pete? So they need to move into a central location where like all the highways meet, where I-4 and 275 and 75 are right there next close to each other. So there's a lot of different ways to get into the game. I think, and all of that. And like I said, just making the stadium more interactive and fun.
There's some issues. And I obviously I think the biggest issue is the lack of public transportation. I think, that plays a part in it.
Yeah.
You look at these other cities, they have, subways, they have
trains,
trains and all that stuff
That's
to
very
take them
true.
to these places. And,
Yeah.
Gas is expensive, and, all that plays a part in
Yeah.
it. And, families, you have families too. And, take a family of 4, that's an expensive, trip. It's an expensive trip. You're looking at $200 to maybe $300.
You
For
get 7-Eleven tickets for the Rays game still.
I don't know.
But you want to make sure that they all have some popcorn. That's $12 a pop. They all have a soda. That's another $10 a pop. Yeah. I need some beer because I'm dealing with all my family because I'm stressed out.
Take a sip, pass it. Take a sip, pass it. Take a bite of the hot dog, pass it.
But no,
I think I want you to do.
Yeah, but what do you, A-Rod, wrap it up? Like, what do you think? What do you think the Rays should do with this situation?
All the time. Pless and I, and Pless, I love you to death, bro. You're like the most level-headed guy in the chat. It's just so weird for you to call me Alex. I'm used to everybody calling me A-Rod.
I love it. I really do love it.
I appreciate you.
I'm gonna start calling him Alex again.
Oh God, it's so weird to hear that. When people call me Alex, my ears perk. I'm like, oh man, he might be talking to my family, but it's all good. We talk about this all the time. Like we bitch about this in our one chat we're in. They got to come to Tampa. Like that's the central location at the end of the day. And they had, you remember like 4 years ago when they rolled out the pressure cooker they wanted to build, the glass dome or whatever they do. They had that all written up. They went out to the media and said it's coming, and then the guy who had the real estate deal got busted and went to jail because he withheld information about property that he can sell. Yeah. So he got in trouble with that.
I do know that they want a retractable roof though, like the Marlins.
You need it in Florida. You definitely need that in Florida. So last thing I want to do is go to a game in freaking July and be sweating balls right there, man. It's gonna be hot as shit.
Yeah, I'm not going.
But if they could put it by like the marina, that would be great. Like there's so much unused land that they could use. And I don't know, man. Like we sit here and we tantalize the idea of, putting them in Tampa, but it's just never going to happen, I feel like. And
it has to. It's either they move to Tampa or they move to Nashville or something.
They are. They're gonna move. They're gonna go to Montreal, man. Like it's gonna happen. And MLB's already talking expanding to more cities: Nashville, Vegas, Portland, a whole bunch of other places that want to
Pacific Northwest baseball. That's fun.
It is fun. That is a lot of fun.
I'll pay to watch that.
Adley Rutschman came out of the Pacific Northwest. So listen, as much as I poo-poo on the Rays, I love them at the same time because I love baseball. If they were Boston, I'd say just burn the city down or burn the stadium down and wipe away that trash. But at the same time, like it's good for the city, but it bothers me when I hear people saying, "Oh, how about those Rays?" Dude, you haven't gone to a game. You haven't gone to a game. You don't support. You just support them because they're winning and they're in your city. But like, you don't go to the game and support them just because you say, "Oh, about those Rays." Like I have Hulu. I had to ask Pless for his login so we can watch the Rays games here. My dad loves the Rays. He's a diehard for him. And he can't watch the games, but he still like gives it to me when he says, "How about those Rays, man?" Like he definitely keeps up with it. He told me the other day Bobby Dahlbeck's playing shortstop. I was like, no, he's not. He's like, yeah, he is. I was like, damn, he really is.
Yeah, I laughed about that.
So the Rays, the best thing, and we've talked about this too, I'm gonna say your name now, Mike, is let Vinnick buy the team. Sell the team to Vinnick because he knows what he's doing with the Lightning. And we said, when people say Tampa's a football town, no, it's not. It's not a football town.
A hockey town.
Tampa's a hockey town, and that's so weird to say.
Yeah.
Because the Lightning, and allude to you, what you were talking about earlier, is the Lightning have been in the Stanley Cup in the last 5 years 4 times. And they've won, 3 of those 4. So,
or no, 2 of those 3.
Yeah, 2. No, it was in the last 5 years, they've been 4 times, and they've won 3 of them, is what they've done. They lost.
Yeah. Okay, 4. My bad.
So they're consistently good. They know how to put a winning caliber team together, and it works. and it's consistently good. So we got the shit locked down with hockey. We need to get the shit locked down with baseball, because baseball is they're a good team. Maybe a Moneyball team, but they're a good team. But imagine that shit downtown. Imagine that shit on the marina, walking distance from Amalie Arena with Channel Side right there. You walk there from there, and you build some more shops in there. You put some business in there. It can be a beautiful thing. Yeah. Attach it to Ybor. Do whatever you want. There's exits from the interstate to get there from the transplants that are going to bitch about it in St. Pete.
Yep.
Like, realistically, it's a lot of retirees going to those games and just sitting out there.
Yeah.
And it's because they live out there, and it's in the budget. It's $15. Like, baseline. I remember I used to sit third baseline, and I would pay like maximum $40 for them shits to watch that. And you go to Yankee Stadium, that's a $200 ticket right there on a shitty day. Playing the Royals, that's a $200. So they got to find a way to get it to Tampa. If they can get it to Tampa, it's the franchise will be saved.
Yeah. But
also the city of Tampa has to build things around it too. And I know now with they're building stuff around Amalie. They're building what is it, Poorhouse or whatever it is they're putting over there. They're building all these different things.
There's a lot of fun shit to do around Amalie.
It's starting to get fun.
Yeah.
It's very expensive though. It's very
oh yeah. Oh my God.
Absolutely. Like downtown St. Pete is pretty cheap.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun things in downtown St. Pete, but it's cheap.
Yeah. Very true.
They need to try and put cheap shit there too. But
I don't think they're capable of it anymore. Like they just built a 5-star hotel, the Edition, in the middle of Channel Side. Like, they got to pay for this property.
Yeah, they're thinking we're Miami. Like, they're trying to turn us into Miami.
Literally. Yeah.
And from a real estate perspective, because I do real estate. Like, it's insane to believe that.
Yeah.
And every day I look at like real estate pages, like, oh, Tampa's the #1 place to live. No, it's not. Miami's still the #1 place to live. But people are coming to Tampa because
who? I would not want to live in Miami.
Look at the population of
Period.
I know that, but if you're rich, like, you want to sky rise in Miami is where you want. You're from Tampa. No one.
I'll get a house next to where Pat Riley lives.
Yeah, exactly. They got Star Island. We got Davis Island. Yeah. Davis Island, where Derek Jeter built a house and they bitched and complained and knocked it down. Derek Jeter knocked down his house. Fuckers. So yeah, just move the Rays to Tampa, or if this doesn't happen, they're gone. They're going to be gone. So
that's a scary thing to think of. It really is. So
a historically shitty franchise turned around at the right time, and being in contention in the AL East is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah,
it's hard to do, because just when you think the Orioles are out, they say, "Hey, we're back."
They went crazy at the end of last year.
And the Blue Jays' goal is just be better than the Yankees. They're like the Padres of the West. Beat the Dodgers. Their goal is beat the Yankees. And the Rays are just like, we beat you both. So what do you want us to do? And our salary is like, there's a guy just eating hot dogs to play on this team. That's it.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. Now, really quickly before I wrap it up, the Florida Panthers are beating the Boston Bruins right now. So I know, like, for example, Ron's going to be very happy. It's the third period, like 7 minutes to go. And that kind of just goes to show you that this is going to be a very good first round of the playoffs in the NHL as well. Underdog, Tampa Bay won. Underdog, Florida won. The Rangers look really dominant. So this is a good time of the year if you're into playoffs and spring ball and all that stuff. So first, we'll give it to you, Mike. Let them know where they can find you. Again, you can plug the videos again, YouTube, whatever you need to do. Just go ahead. It's your show now.
Yeah, catch us on Real Bucs Talk on YouTube.
Hold on, let me pause you real quick. Catch Mike, don't catch Mark.
Yeah. You can find me at Real Bucs Talk on YouTube and do a lot of great content. We got more content coming up, not only next week, but in the upcoming months, May, June, July. A lot of work we're going to be doing. But next week we got a live draft show that we're very excited about. So we'll cover round one, all the picks. We'll do a live analysis of each one. So
I'll call in again.
You can call in if you want. Yeah, definitely send you guys links if you want to join. Talk about your picks. More than welcome to do that. So yeah, it's always a fun time. We love doing the draft shows, and yeah, can't wait.
Hey, Rod.
You can find us on Twitter at fair_weather pod. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Just search the Fair Weather Podcast. And wherever you subscribe or listen to your audio, you can find us there. Words of wisdom, take it away, because I got some.
Oh, wow. I was just going to say, like, as you're doing that, make sure you subscribe and press like and whatever people say. I'm not a influencer by any means, but I try to influence the masses. That's my word of advice, by the way. I'm not an influencer by any means, but I'm
not
going
a
to
rapper.
influence the masses.
All right. So, in case y'all know, in case you don't know, I celebrate or I'm Muslim, so I celebrate Ramadan. We're coming to the closing months. It's been very humbling, very good for me, for my mentals. Yes, not eating food, not drinking water. It's been really, really tough, but getting through it. Been a really good mindset during this entire time. I've been very, very upbeat, very, very happy, which is good. And the only thing I can say to people that are fasting and doing Ramadan as well, may we leave Ramadan better than when we left it. So that's all I got to say for my words of wisdom.
All right. Assalamu alaikum to that.
All right, y'all.
Don't forget, like, subscribe, watch, all that stuff. Mike, we'll probably see you next week for the draft somehow. Okay. A-Rob, we got to come up with something. All right. Adios.